I think college football 25 is a good game, but I want to go over a few things that would make this game great. First, I want to talk about recruiting. And to be honest, I think it's a little bit too easy, man. I think it's a little bit too easy. It's not, super easy, but once you learn the system, once you learn how to finesse it, it is easy to learn, and it's the same thing kind of over and over again. And it's a slow process, man. It can get a little bit tedious at some points. But for me personally, I think it should be different modes for the recruiter, man. And I get it. You can't make recruiting super hard because you still got the casual player that want to come on, hop on, play, and not have a terrible hard time with recruiting. I get that perspective. But for the guy like me that, this is pretty much the main game that I play, I want a difficult setting for recruiter. I want it to be easy, hard, medium for recruiting. Just to give some people a challenge, to spice things up. Because, for example here, this is my streaming series right here. We're in, week 2. But the main thing I want to point out is we're a 1.5-star program. Like, why did we have 4 stars interested in us? Like, that don't make sense, man. 4 stars were interested in us, and none of them was from the state we're even in, man. And I just don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's realistic at all, man. We should have 0 4 stars interested in us as a 1-star program. 0. You should. That's how it goes in real life, man. A 1-star program in real life. Let's go UMass. No 4-star recruiters, from out of Massachusetts is, starting off interested in UMass. And no offense to them boys out UMass. No offense to them. But, it's just not happening as a 1-star program, having multiple 4 stars interested. And this is with, a couple weeks of scouting. Like I said, we're only at week 3. And we're in first place for all these guys? Like, we're in first place for all these guys. Will we get all these guys? Probably not. But the fact that we're even in first place for all these guys as a 1.5-star program this early is, like I said, I think recruiting is a little bit too easy at this point for me. I think another one of my issues, it's no point to really go at the 3 stars early in the year, in my opinion. It's way easier to get 3 stars later in the process, later in the year. At the start of the year, you're pretty much only incentivized to go at the 4 stars because they're going to change your program ASAP. And getting 4 stars, yes, they did make it a little bit more difficult. It's not hard, man. It is not hard to get 4 stars, to bring in multiple 4 stars at a 1-star program. So I just think it's a little bit too easy to turn around a program and, also, just to bring in top-level recruits as a bad school. Also, staying on the same topics of recruits, why don't we have any generational recruits, man? Like, Madden got the generational player you could draft here and there, but we don't have generational recruits in this game. Like, Jeremiah Smith in real life, wide receiver for Ohio State, he's coming in at like an 84 overall. And this game, when you get a 5-star freshman, they're not coming in as an 80. I think the highest, I've seen personally 78, 79. Y'all let me know if y'all seen different. Y'all seen someone come in the mid 80s, lower 80s. I haven't. And I, do a lot of recruiting. So we need that in the game because that happens in real life. You get the Harold Perkins, the guy that, come in as a true freshman, and he's legit the best player on the team. Also, Jeremiah Smith or even, Ryan Williams, they're coming in as freshmen and, they're the best player on the team, one of the best players at that position in all of college football. And, you can have it happen in this game, just by, maybe running the ball a lot with this running back, going out your way to pass the ball. But it don't happen overall wise. And that's a little bit of an issue to me, man. I need players, here and there. It don't have to be every single recruiting class. It don't have to be multiple every recruiting class. But at least give us the option. At least bring in the excitement, the chance to bring in, an 87 overall left tackle, Will Campbell from LSU. He came and started at left tackle his first day on campus, and, he's going to graduate this year and be a first-round draft pick. Give us those type players as well, man. Coming in as an 85, 83, 84 overall. And like I say, even if it's 1 in every recruiting class or 1 in every 5 recruiting, whatever it is, have it in the game because that brings that excitement, man. We want that. We want to see that because that's how it goes in real life. Another thing also centered around recruiting, come on, pipelines, man. Like, we got to have dynamic pipelines at some point, man. Pipelines got to be able to change. The only way you could change pipelines in this game if you go into the program builder and even unlock program builder with your, coach abilities. It takes forever. It's going to take a bunch of different seasons, probably like 8 seasons or whatever. And then you can unlock, you can actually upgrade your pipelines, but you can never shift them. And I feel like you should be able to. If I'm starting off as, let's say, Temple, go check out my Temple rebuild. Y'all already know. If I'm starting off as Temple, and, I'm recruiting a lot of players from, let's say, Maryland or DMV. My pipeline for Maryland should grow. It should get stronger. Or, maybe I'm only recruiting in-state. I'm bringing in, 10, 15 in-state players. Why would my pipeline increase? Why would it only stay at 2 the whole entire time? And that makes no sense. So we got to have dynamic pipelines. And, I get the reason why they didn't. They wanted to make sure, Georgia stayed Georgia. They wanted, make sure the big dogs stayed the big dogs. And then also the smaller schools stayed as the smaller schools. But that's the whole point of Dynasty, man, for you to build up your school and turn it into a powerhouse. And, even if a school like Alabama fall off and they lose some of their top pipelines, that's how it happens, man. That's how it happens. Over time, these programs grow and, some fall off. So, I see why they did it, but I just disagree. And I feel like we should have dynamic pipelines in this game. Next, let's talk about coach abilities. And I know a lot of people have, an issue with your coach being maxed out at level 50. I believe they took that out, but I believe you still have a max level. I don't have that much of an issue with that just because, no coach is great at everything. What I do have is an issue with some of these, objectives being so difficult to achieve. Having 2 players drafted in the top 1 round is very difficult, man. Talent developer as a small-time school, this may take you 5, 6, 7, 8 years to unlock this. And then when you do unlock it, is it that good? Tier 2, yes. You get the ability to unlock skill caps. That's good. But lower rated quarterbacks progress faster. That's pretty good as well. But it just takes so much longer to unlock this, man. It's at that point your program is probably in a great spot. You don't even have to worry about you're probably dominating already. And I get why they did it, make it a little bit of a challenge. But even this, sign 2 top 5 recruiting classes is very difficult. Very difficult, especially as a small program, man. It'll take you a while. You got to get that program prestige up. And then once you do unlock it, are these things super useful? I don't know. Boost, pipeline boost. I don't know what that means. I like more information, man. Give me as much information as possible. Boost, pipeline boost for quarterbacks, the tier 3 ability right here. Give me a percent. Boost pipeline boost by 5%, 10%. Put a number to it. Let me know, what it's doing. And then even tier 4, boost ideal grades for quarterback. By how much? Let me know what I'm getting with these, these abilities. More information is better, man. And then even coming in here to CEO. First of all, you got to win 2 national championships to even unlock this. Very difficult, very difficult. Not many people are unlocking this, during their series. If you are, shout out to you. But, one of the abilities right here, 1-year extension when facing being fired. If you won 2 national championships, you're probably not getting fired, man. You're probably in a good spot. So, some of these things I just don't love, man. I just do not love at all. Also, even looking at your offense and defensive coordinator, same exact things. I believe they should have a whole different set of abilities and, than your head coach. That's how I believe. That's how I believe it should work. And then also, I believe when you have an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, by default, when you hire somebody, they're going to come in with that playbook. Now, you have to manually go in and change the playbook that you want. But I feel like, if I hire the defensive coordinator over at, Syracuse, when I hire him, he's going to come in with his playbook. And, I have the option to run that playbook. For me, that makes it a little bit more realistic, a little bit more immersive. But for me to, have to go out my way to put the proper playbook on, listen, make this whole thing a little bit more immersive for us, man. Make it a little bit more interesting. The next thing I want to talk about is NIL, and it's, somewhat recruiting related. But I think for me personally, it just rubs me the wrong way not having NIL represented in this game at all. Not having that in the game at all is, for me, just don't sit right. And I get why they did it, man. They pretty much said that, having NIL in the game when it's constantly changing doesn't make sense, because you could put it in the game and then by the end of the year it could completely change. I get that. But NIL plays such a big role into current day recruiting, and, even bringing in recruits. It plays such a big role. Transfer portal as well. For it to not even be involved is just disappointing, especially when you consider you got guys sitting out mid-year. The starting quarterback for UNLV, he started his first 4 games, and then he didn't get that cheese from the NIL money, and he decided to sit out, and he's redshirting the whole year, and he's going to enter the transfer portal next season. So for NIL to not even have any representation in this game, I don't like it. You got to find some way to incorporate it next year. You got to find some way to make it work, even if, it changed mid-year and, the way you put it in the game is not relevant. Listen, put it in the game some way and, make it fun, make it creative, make it work. Next, let's talk about two-way players, man. Obviously, you got Travis Hunter, two-way player in real life. You got to find a way to make two-way players a real thing in the game. You got the coachability for two-way players, but in actual gameplay, it doesn't really work out just because the wear and tear, first of all, is pretty bad. And then also when you consider you don't get stats for the other side of the ball. Travis Hunter, he'll play wide, he's listed as a wide receiver, but when he plays cornerback, he don't get any stats. And then also if you play a player both ways, they won't upgrade on both sides of the ball, man. They're only going to upgrade. For Travis, he will only upgrade as a wide receiver. He will not upgrade as a defensive back. And I don't know how that's the case. Like, how do we mess that up when, you got the first two-way player, in a while? Like, I feel like that has to be an emphasis on the game when you got an actual two-way player in real life. So for me personally, like, I go out my way trying to find two-way players to recruit. And when I do get them on campus, like, it's damn near no point just because they won't progress as a two-way. So find a way to make that work next year, make that fun. And then, you can even incorporate that with the generational recruit, man. Make a Travis Hunter, type player, but maybe he play running back and linebacker. Make him a generational recruit that's going to come in as an 85 overall running back and, 82 overall linebacker, something like that. And, you play on both ways. Something along them lines, man. Make the game, overly fun. All right, so next we're in here on the award watch list. And this needs to be redone, man. I don't know what's wrong with this, but it's not correct. It's not correct at all, man. It seems like whatever team has the best, pretty much, records, a lot of their players will be at the top, especially when you look at D-backs, man. Like, why do we have 4 guys in here for D-back of the year? Like, no way. Jaquez, our safety right here is having a bad year. How is he in here 9th? Like, that makes no sense, man. He is not having a good year. Doc Abraham is having a good year. I see him being on this list. Byron, he's a slot corner. He's having an okay year. I see him being on this list as well. But, it seems like whatever. And then also Oklahoma got 4 guys on this list. And guess what? They're ranked number 1. It seemed like a lot of the top schools just get a lot of players on this list. And, they might not even be having good years, but somehow they make it on this list. Same thing here. We have 2 running backs on this list. I'll show you my running back stats. Our running backs are not having good years. I have no idea how any of our running backs on this list, man. If you combine both of their stats, maybe they could be on this list. Maybe if you combine both of their stats put together. But they're both at about 500 yards on the season. Like, no way they're both in here for running back of the year. I don't know why it's glitched out. And then, like, other situations, well, I can never get a receiver to win, actually wide receiver of the year. But D-line, another one that's pretty easy. Like, this whole thing just kind of had to be redone, man. It don't make sense. We got tight end of the year with a 79 overall tight end, and it seems like also, defensive coordinator. Hey, man, it is what it is. Our defense is not good. Our defense is not very good. It's more so our offense that been dominating. We got middle linebacker in there. That's fine. That makes sense. But a lot of these awards need to be redone, maybe recalibrated. I don't know what it is. But constantly having the wrong player win, the award. This might be a little bit nitpicky, but overall, like, I don't know what's going on with team overall, but how are we at 87 overall? That makes no sense. Like, look at our highest rated player. Our highest rated player is at 87 overall. How is our whole team overall 87? Like, maybe I'm bugging, maybe I'm tripping out, but I don't see how we could possibly be at 87 offense, 87 defense, and total overall at 87. And it's like that for a lot of teams, man. You'll scroll through. Some of these overalls don't make sense. Look at this. They got a bunch of more high-rated players, just on this screen, but they're lower overall than us. I don't get it. How are they 86? I don't get that. This team's a 90. That makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense. But on a lot of these overalls just don't add up. They have a higher overall rated player than us, 89 overall, but they're a 79 overall team. I don't get it. I don't get it. Overall rating doesn't really make sense in this game. And I want to touch on the transfer portal, man. I have a lot to say about the transfer portal. I can't lie. The way it's done in this game is too, I say, user-friendly, too easy. Like, in real life, the transfer portal is, it's a bad time of the year for a lot of teams, man. It's a bad time of the year for a lot of teams. A lot of teams have a lot of players entering that portal, and a lot of good players, man, and for a lot of dumb reasons. Players will enter the portal for, because they're not starting, they don't like the coach or whatever. These players are entering the portal left, right. You got thousands of players entering the portal every single cycle. And you could bring in a lot of players in real life during the transfer portal. You could bring in 30, players in the transfer portal if you want. You've seen Dion do it. I think he brought in 50 players his first year in the transfer portal, 40, 50 players. So it's possible. In this game, you can't. You just can't, man. And also, you got the roster size at 25. Why can't we have walk-ons? Walk-ons are at 85. Why can't we have walk-ons? In real life, each team got about, 20 to 25 walk-ons. Why can't we have walk-ons, man? Why our roster is limited at 85? I don't love that either, especially when, you want to bring in a lot of high school recruits. Now you limit yourself, man. Now you can only bring in, about 20 high school recruits, or you're going to have to constantly cut guys. So don't love that, man. And then back to the transfer portal. Like, it's too, like I said, it's not aggressive enough, man. It's not aggressive enough. You need to have more players entering the portal. Every year, you should have 7 to 10 guys from your team entering the portal. That's how it goes in real life. Like I said, that's how even the top programs, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, they bring in top athletes every year. A lot of them guys don't pan out. They don't start. They're entering the portal. That's how it should happen in this game as well. But and here, like I said, this is the Temple rebuild. We haven't had a guy enter the portal over the last 2 years. After your first 2 years, your first year, you may have a bunch of guys leave because your coach prestige is low, whatever, they don't like the playing style. But after that, guys will not enter the portal. At least from my experience, man. Guys will not enter the portal. Your roster will stay the same unless you cut someone. And that's just not the case, man. That's not the case. So I'll manually go in and, force guys to enter the portal. That's not going to start for us. Maybe a junior, he's a second string, he could, be a good player. But we have, a freshman, sophomore starting over him. I'm going to go ahead and let him enter the portal because that's how it will happen in real life, man. That's how it happened in real life. For example, Leon Weaver, I'm going to make sure he enters the portal because he's not starting on our team, man. He's a junior. I want him to get some playing time. He probably would transfer in real life. It hasn't worked out. This was a 4-star recruit. In real life, he probably would have been gone. He probably would have been in the portal after his second year, when he figured out it wasn't working out, when he wasn't starting anymore. That's how it happens in real life, but it doesn't happen like that in this game. And I get that, this is a video game. It's never going to be one-on-one with real life, but just give us the settings. Give us the settings. Allow us to change transfer portal to aggressive, normal, conservative, something like that. Give us the option to, customize our dynasty however we want. Like I said, more information is better. More customization is better. Give us the options for everything. And then also, I'll touch on the top stories, man. I want a little bit more with this. Like, looking at these top stories, okay, it's just some matchups, not much, top 25. No, I need some top stories, man. This player got, having a bad season. He's about to enter the transfer portal for, Duke, Georgia, whatever school. Having, actual players with storylines, especially, I feel like that's easy pickings, like I said, with the transfer portal. This player is unhappy at this school because he's not starting. You see it happen all year in real life right now, man. I don't know how much y'all pay attention to, real life college football, but we have many players saying they're entering the transfer portal. We are at week 5, man. We're at week 5 or 6 in real life, and you got players literally saying they're entering the transfer portal in the middle of the season. You have players sitting out, redshirting after playing the first 4 games, and they don't like how the season is going. They don't like whatever. I'm redshirting. I'm sitting out the rest of the year. I'm going to transfer. You legit got guys doing that. So you could create storylines around that. You could also create storylines around recruiting. If you do put generational recruits in the game, then you could actually add that, into the top stories, somehow implement that. Listen, there's so many different things you can do with the top stories. in this game. I feel like they just put it in just to have it as something to look at once in a while. All right, the last thing I want to touch on, I don't want this video to be too long, but player development, man. I need player development to be a little better, man. I feel like it's a little bit too random. Like, it's way too random. Like, you got the XP bar and then you got the XP coins in the top right corner, but you have no influence of where these guys are going to upgrade. So you might have, your starting quarterback only upgrade, let's say, his health. And he might only get better at, not getting injured. And, that takes 10 points. It's not, Miguel didn't do it in this situation, but that's a possibility. You could have a guy, go into a category that really does not matter for that position. I had a safety. He only upgraded his speed. Cool. He's 99 speed at safety. His coverages are dirt. He can't tackle. He's an 80 overall. But his speed, he's fast as hell. It's like, okay, you're a safety. Like, I need you to actually, have some skill out there. You're flying around the field, but you can't make a tackle. So, it got to be some type of balance. They need to get a little bit better of, with how you can actually, influence player development, man. Like Miguel. After this season, or after his last season, his sophomore year, he had a great sophomore year. He was an 82 overall at the end of his sophomore year. We advanced through the whole season. We went through training results. He did not move overalls. He stayed at an 82. He had a great year. How do you stay at an 82 overall after having a great year? Like, why did he not develop at all? And, come in here looking at his rating caps. I see, they a little bit maxed out. He can't get too much better, but they're not maxed. He get a little bit stronger. He get a little bit more accurate. His health is still could go up. But he did not go up at all, man. He went up to an 83 throughout this season as, his plan were all the way at the end of the season. So he went up, like I said, throughout the season through just gaining XP. But during the off season, he did not go up at all, man. Now, I also feel like it should be some type of way for these rating caps to change if you have an amazing season. Like, if you win an award, maybe that, change your rating caps a little bit. Or, you shoot up in overall. I had a couple players win awards for this team. They did not change much. Man. Our middle linebacker, Avery Terrell, he won middle linebacker of the year last year. Guess what? Barely won up in overall. Nothing, barely even changed with him. And I don't get that, man. He's still a normal development. I feel like your development should be able to go up a little bit, especially if you win an award. If you win linebacker of the year, you still shouldn't be a normal development player. That just doesn't make sense to me. And, stuff like that happens. I don't love that. And then I also don't just love how development is so random. Like I said, I have a video on, all of player development and pretty much my best explanation of how it works. But once you get to that off-season training and you advance, it's random. If you advance that off-season training and then you go back to another save file, that same exact file or that same exact dynasty, I should say, then you advance again, you'll get 2 different results. And if you go back do it a third time, you'll get 3 different results. So, Ty right here, he might go up 3 different overalls. He might go up 1 the first advance. He might go up 7 the second advance. He might go up none the third. Like, why is it so random? Like, why are we playing, why are we playing the RNG game with, player development, man? Like, have it have, a lot to do with how they played this past year. They development. This is an elite development player. He's a 3-star, but he's an elite development player. And then also you look at his ratings, he got great rating caps, man. Like, he could become a great player. Like, that should have a lot more to do with, his player development more so than, it feels random. And like I said, a direct example is our starting quarterback and how, he had that great season, but he did not develop at all. And last example, our starting running back, James Lewis. Listen, I don't get how he didn't go up either, man. He's a power back. His rating caps are not maxed out. He won running back of the year last year. Phenomenal year. He came in as a freshman as a 76 overall. He went up to a 78 overall throughout the season, just from, us using him. Like I say, he won running back of the year, so he's a good player for us. Then after that, off-season training, he goes up 2 overalls. Now we're all the way at the end of the season. He's still at that same 80 overall he went up during the season, or he went up during the offseason. Brian Sis, a true freshman running back that we brought in, through the high school ranks, he came in as a 79 overall. How does he out-progress our running back of the year last year? He does have elite development, But still, this is the running back of the year. How is a true freshman now better than him, man? Doesn't make sense to me, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't mean for this to be a rant video. I just want to go over a few different ways how I think, college football could really improve and really become a great game that we all want it to be, man. We all want Dynasty to be great. Dynasty is personally my favorite game more than this. I feel like it's a lot of easy things that we could just nip in the bud, make it a little bit better. So, hopefully EA, taps in. Hopefully they, make a few of these changes. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. If y'all enjoyed the video, make sure I like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all for watching. On to the next one.